What's up, everybody? Welcome back to The Run with me, Manny Wilson. Thank you for tuning in to The Run, whether you're listening to the podcast version or you're on YouTube, Spotify. I appreciate it either way it goes. I will not be on wider radio anymore for just a good amount of time for the summer, for the remainder of the summer. My location's changed, so I'm not going to be there anymore, but I still will be delivering podcasts every week. So stay tuned for that. My day of the week will still be Wednesday as well. So be sure to check that out. Hopefully you subscribed on YouTube or subscribed on iPodcast, Spotify. Follow me on there, anything, and you get a notification when I post. So cool, man. Let's get into it. I'm ready to talk about the playoffs. The first series I want to get into is Toronto and Philly. This series is exciting to watch. I want to get on Philly about something, but I'll get into it a little bit later. But the main focus is Kawhi Leonard going to stay in Toronto, even if they beat the Sixers and go to the finals and things like that? Is Kawhi Leonard going to stay in the finals? The big question. I personally don't see Kawhi staying in Toronto, and here's my reason for this. One, I've watched this man do so much on the court. He's playing with a bunch of role players. That choose when they're going to show up and when they want to have a good game, things like that. So whenever they don't have a good game, and don't get me wrong, in the regular season they went off. Don't get me wrong. Siakam, Ibaka, all of them played good. Danny Green was shooting really good. Even Kyle Lowry is playing good. So don't get me wrong. I mean, the guys got some skill, but they're not stars. They're role players. So when you put Kawhi with them, Kawhi has to do everything if they're having a bad night. When you look at, I think it was game 2 or game 1 that the Raptors stole. No, one of the games. But early on in the season, we've watched it too many times, regardless of what game it was. It was one of the games earlier in the season or earlier in the series. And we watched Kawhi Leonard put the whole team on his back. We watched it a few different times throughout the series. So it's not really one specific game where that happened. We watched Kawhi do that on multiple occasions so far throughout the playoffs, actually. Now, don't get me wrong. When his teammates help him out, the team looks great. They look unstoppable. Everything's rolling. So you can't be mad at him. But for me, I don't think that's good enough for Kawhi Leonard, someone who wants to win. Clearly, that's all he's worried about is just winning the game. But when he has to do stuff on his own like that because role players aren't stepping up night after night or on a consistent basis, that hurts. That's really the key. That's the key focus, and that hurts. I felt extremely bad. for Kawhi because I'm watching him, and I'm like, damn, can the dude get any help? Can somebody help him out? I'm watching the game, and I watch him go play defense, or he get a stop on one of the top players on Philly, whether it's Jimmy Butler or Joel Embiid. He get a stop, get the rebound, go down court, has to score, and then if he doesn't score, has to run back court and get a fast break stop. And it's like at some point, I felt bad for him because I'm like, I know he's exhausted. He's making good passes. People weren't finishing. He getting them good looks. People getting good looks. Danny Green was getting great 3-point looks, and he wasn't finishing. Kyle Lowry was getting great 3-point looks, wasn't finishing layups. It was all kind of stuff that I was watching, and I just felt horrible for Kawhi because I'm like, and that was really when it dawned on me that it's no way that Kawhi stays with this team. It's no way. They would probably have to win the championship in order for Kawhi Leonard to stay on this team. Other than that, I really don't see him staying on that team with a bunch of role players unless they got somebody else big. And even Kyle Lowry, some people say he's a star. To me, Kyle Lowry he's never been a star. Never been a big star. To me, he's always been just above the average point guard. He's been a regular point guard. I'll say I'm not gonna sit here and say like Kyle Lowry's bad or nothing. But I'm not saying he's an outstanding point guard as how people make it out to be, because that's not how it is. To me, he's not. If you're a little point guard, you either have to know how to shoot the blood out the ball or have a very consistent 3-point shot mid-range game. If that's not it, then you got to be quick and fast. Quick and fast. If you can't shoot the blood out the ball, you got to be quick and fast. And if you not either one of those, it already hurts. It already hurts a lot. It's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt whatever team you're playing for. If you're not super fast or quick, and you can't shoot the ball like that, you can't create your own shot at a high pace. And I will give him a little credit. He does play defense and he plays hard. Yeah, that makes a big difference. I'll give him that. But you can say the same thing about Patrick Beverley as well, because Patrick Beverley, he's little, but he also plays hard. And he doesn't have the best jump shot, but he's trying to develop his offensive game. He's aggressive from here and there. So I completely understand. But I really think Kyle Lowry, he's just above the average point guard. So I'm not including him into the star category or anything like that. So that's Toronto is going to need more than just a Kyle Lowry to keep Kawhi Leonard in Toronto. The Raptors, they just got to get more, because right now he's playing with role players and they don't show up every night. Siakam is nice. I will agree with that. He's nice. They got some good pieces. Don't get me wrong. I'm not destroying the whole team. They got some good pieces. But also, I don't see consistency from those role players every night. And because of that, it puts so much on Kawhi, on his offensive game. And we've seen him put on offensive performance. And if you, like he said, if you watch Kawhi from years back, you know that his offensive game wasn't this elite at one point. He was not balling like this, and it wasn't as elite at one point. And it's really nice to watch. But anyway, going back to the series, I noticed also with the series that Toronto, the games they lost, they shot under 43%, and their three point percentage was less than 30% for the games that they have lost. But any game that they won, you see multiple people scoring. You see more than 5 people in double digits. You see people making 3-pointers. They have a higher 3-point percentage, higher field goal percentage. When they win these games against Philly, they're making their shots. It's mostly when the role players are stepping up, getting in double digits. You at least have 5 or 4 players in double digits every time Toronto wins, and that says something right there. If it's only Kawhi, it's much more difficult to win and beat a team with multiple stars on it. And that brings me to Philly. Because this is why I was saying that Philly really needs to step it up, and they need to get it together. Because I don't understand how a team can have so much firepower, have so many people on that team who's elite. They don't really have shooters. Clearly, they don't have that many shooters, but you have elite players on that team. Supposedly more than one star. And the thing that makes me a little upset is that they're letting a team with one star and role players beat them right now. And not only beat them, but take control. Games that Philly won, it's been back and forth. This has been close. It was a toss-up. So Toronto could have won. Games they've been back and forth, it was a big toss-up. So this is where I'm confused. If you look at the roster on paper, and this is why they say paper can sometimes fool you if you don't actually watch the game and things like that. But if you look on paper, you automatically assume that Philly is going to win. You automatically assume that Philly has more superstar, or more stars, I should say, so they have a better chance of winning. But when in reality, that's not the case, because these guys aren't playing that well together. I hear a lot of talk about the third option and how the third option needs to step up. Some people say it's Jimmy Butler, and whenever I hear Jimmy Butler, I'm like, what are you watching? You must not be watching the game. You must only be listening to people. Because if you watch the game, Jimmy Butler brings energy to that team. Whenever that team is down or they need a run, who is there to help? If it's not Joel Embiid, it's always Jimmy Butler. And I don't want to hear anybody say anything about Ben Simmons, because we don't know what's been going on with him. Ben Simmons has been just gone. He's been gone. Game 1, he played 33 minutes. That was one of his better games. He put up 14 points and 9 rebounds. That was one of his better games. But let's look at some of the other games. The bad games. Game 2 was Raptor the 76ers. They won. They won that game, but I give that credit to Jimmy Butler. Once again, he put on a show. He brought energy desperately when the team desperately needed it. But let's look at Ben Simmons. Let's see what he did, okay? He's supposed to be one of the best guys on that team, not the third option, because that's supposed to be Jimmy Butler somehow. So we're going to look into it. Let's see what Ben Simmons was doing. He played 44 minutes of basketball. 44 minutes of basketball. But had 6 points. 6 points and 7 rebounds. A total of 6 field goal attempts. He shot the ball 6 times. And you telling me this is the man who's not a third option or who has not been playing like a third option this series? He has to produce more. It's that simple. It's that simple. We did not see this kind of performance from Ben Simmons in the regular season. We didn't. And it's just that simple. I mean, he has to do better. Let's look at another game. Okay, we'll look at game 4. That's when Raptors won. I said a lot about when Raptors won. But okay, game 4. He played a total of 38 minutes. 38 minutes of basketball. Ben Simmons was in the game. All he had was 10 points, 5 rebounds, and 4 assists. I'm watching him. I watch him when I'm watching the game. I don't like to depend on analytics and things like that when I'm talking about stuff, because they can be easily deceiving. So I'm gonna tell you what was happening during the game as I'm watching. So I'm watching Ben Simmons. Everybody know he doesn't have a jump shot. He got to get that, obviously, because he can't do anything without it right now in the playoffs. So he has to get that. If we can see Giannis Antetokounmpo develop a jump shot within 1 or 2 years, because he's been shooting threes now, Ben Simmons has to do it. It's on you. It's no excuse of why you cannot shoot the ball yet, or at least shooting with confidence. It's no excuse about that. So when I'm watching the game, and I see Ben Simmons putting up 10 points or 6 points, with only taking 6 shots and things like that, I'm watching him go up a foot away from the rim and throw the ball all the way out. I'm watching him go up and do that. And my thing is, I know he has a good IQ. And he wants to make his teammates look good and do whatever he can to help the team, because he's that kind of player. He's not a selfish player or anything. But damn it, if you 1 foot away from the rim and you already in the air, why not just go up? Or if you have a lane, be aggressive. He has to be aggressive. And you got to be aggressive, man. If you take advantage of mismatches and things like that, take advantage of your speed that you have over guys and your size that you have over guys. Be creative. Be creative in the paint. We know that's all you're going to do is go to the paint, because you can't shoot the ball. So it's already easy to guard. So as somebody who can't shoot the ball, you have to be more creative. You have to be more creative in the paint to do anything and to score. So people want to talk about, Jimmy Butler is this third option. He's the third option on Philadelphia. I don't know about that, man. You must not be watching any games. Right now, I put Tobias Harris as my third option before Ben Simmons. Tobias Harris has been producing more than Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons damn near on the court just to rebound. And he's not even grabbing a lot of rebounds. So it's like he's having a frustrating night after night. Come on, man. That's tough. He's having a frustrating night after night. And this guy is, and I'm not taking anything away from him. He's still a great player. He got to learn how to shoot. You got to learn how to shoot and get crafty. Get crafty in that paint or something, man. You got to help that team out, man, because it's no way. It's tough. For the games that Philly won, Joel Embiid either went off or Jimmy Butler either went off. And if not, it was probably both of them in some of the games. In some of the games, both of them went off, and it got them a win. But I have yet to see Ben Simmons go off. I've yet to see him make a huge impact in the game against Toronto Raptors. I've yet to see it happen. And there's no explanation for it. It's really not. So people want to say third option, things like that, and why Jimmy Butler is a third option. But that's not the case at all. If you watch the game, you know Jimmy Butler is not the third option. The way he impacts that team, the energy he brings, he's another one. He's a two-way player. Just how I was talking about Kawhi Leonard going down court, playing defense, going back on the offensive end, scoring, and then hustling back down court to play defense. I've seen Jimmy Butler do that multiple times too. I've seen him do it too. He brings a lot of energy to that team. And when Philadelphia or when the 76ers need a run desperately, he's there. He brings that energy. And honestly, I think he has that mentality that keeps the Sixers pushing. He does not get comfortable. I've watched him in situations where the Raptors were winning. He decided he was not comfortable. He continued to play hard, kept his teammates motivated, and they ended up getting it done. But ultimately, you need more than just two people. You got these guys on the team who's supposed to be big time and high hopes and things like that, but they're not stepping up. And that's kind of what I was saying with back to Toronto. You got guys on the team who's supposed to be more than what they really are and things like that. Media is hyping them up to be something that a lot of people don't know what they are yet and things like that, but they're not delivering on a nightly basis. Hopefully, I at this point, I don't remember who I had taken the series between Philly and Toronto. It might have been Philly, it might have been the Raptors. I don't really remember. And I don't want to just like throw out any team and say that's who I chose. But at this point, from the games I've been watching, and the type of play that I've been seeing, I can see Toronto Raptors winning this series. Probably in the game 6. If Philly don't come hard at home, then they're losing. And they better hope that the Raptors role players don't step it up, because if they do, then the game is really over. The game is over. And it's that simple. So I got Toronto taking it in 6. Hopefully it happens. Because of course I always want to be right. So there's nothing wrong with that.